Pleasure Beach Experience Monthly is back, and this month we're going to be chatting about the entry system at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Should they go back to free entry, or is pay one price the way forward? Also, Mike and Becca are going to be talking about theme park catering, and I'll be talking all about the IAAPA European Attraction Show that I visited a couple of weeks ago. September's edition of Pleasure Beach Experience Monthly. Once again, I'm joined by Mike and Mark, and we're going to start with Blackpool Pleasure Beach, where we talk about the entry system. So it's quite a big topic because we're going to be taking a look at, should they bring free entry back? Is the current system fine? Do they waste money on Seasonpass wristbands? Should it be quicker getting into the park? We've got quite a lot to talk about, haven't we? So I've got it all wrote down here so we try and keep it a little bit structured. And I'll start with the current system versus free entry. Mike, current system or free entry? I'll start with you.
Modification of the current system.
Okay.
I don't mind an entrance charge. Fine. £10 I think is an absolute joke.
Oof.
I think that's gone beyond the justification of controlling who goes into the park to blatantly trying to make money out of it.
Yeah.
That's £6 I thought was reasonable. £10 I think is a rip-off.
I think the problem with it, just cutting straight in on you there, is it's a non-rider pass, but for that extra £4 you get a ride on River Caves, which doesn't appeal to everyone.
Well, if you're a non-rider, say your dad,
yes,
going to have a big job getting his dad in River Caves.
Yes.
Not happening.
No.
Pointless, and I doubt your mum would go in it either.
No.
Exactly. So, what are you actually getting out of that? Nothing. Also, I think the £6, I don't think it should be an outright charge. I think you pay your £6 when you go in, but you get a £6 voucher.
Yeah.
I think it should be. I think you should be getting something for your £6 other than the train.
Yeah.
I think personally it should be you get a £6 food voucher.
Yeah. Something.
They used to have them Pleasure Beach pounds, didn't they?
Yes.
I think you should get that, 6 Pleasure Beach pounds that you can go and spend in the shop.
I think before we let Mark get a word in, I think coming back to that though, they could turn around and argue and say, well, you are getting something because you're getting River Caves, getting Pleasure Beach Express, you get to see the fountain, which is another thing that they throw in, and you get to use the facilities for £10. But we'll bring Mark in. Do you think they should bring free entry back, or is the current system fine?
I'm in the opinion, I think the current system's fine, to be honest with you. I know it's not for everyone, but realistically if you're going in free and don't buy anything on there, then you're actually costing the park money. So as a business model, I think it'll works fine as it is. Yeah, it could make some slight modifications like Mike says, but for me I think paid entry is the way to go for it, because if you think like some Merlin, there's no discount as such. If you don't want to ride anything, you're still paying full price for it.
Yeah. Whereas
you are slightly getting a bit of a reduction for going to Pleasure Beach. I know it's like an amusement park as such, and a seaside amusement park at that, but I think paid entry these days is where to go with it.
Yeah, I think my opinion is that I think the current system's fine, but I think like Mike and like Mark have said, modifications are needed in places. Now I know there is an argument for free entry, and a lot of people will say Pleasure Beach has not been the same since it wasn't free entry. That's true, it hasn't been the same, but I think without free entry, Nickelodeon Land wouldn't be there. I think one of the big things about Nickelodeon Land was that Pleasure Beach had to be paid entry. I also think Pleasure Beach wouldn't be able to do school trips because schools wouldn't be trusting enough to let their kids go to a park that the kids could just wander out of. I certainly wouldn't be happy with Charlie going to Pleasure Beach if it was free entry on his own, because he could just wander in and out as he pleased when he's older. But I just think that the free entry thing it's from a time of the past. Yeah. Now moving on to the next point, should pay per ride be cheaper for those who don't buy a wristband but do pay to get in? Because I think Pleasure Beach would make a hell of a lot more money if their tickets were cheaper, because as it stands, a ride on Icon and a ride on Big One is actually more than it costs for a wristband online.
Yeah.
So I think, as an example, Becca hasn't got a season pass, but has got one of the passes for getting in the park. And if the season passes, not season passes, if the tickets were cheaper, I'd imagine Becca would go on more rides, because there might be a time where we don't have Charlie with us, and Becca might go, do you know what, fancy going Nickelodeon Streak. But to do that, you've got to buy a minimum of 10 tickets.
The flip side of that's true. You might want to go on something with Charlie.
Yes.
You might want to take Charlie
This is
on
a
a ride.
common problem that I've had taking Charlie in, is it's too expensive. Especially if I want to take him on one ride and I've got to spend a tenner to do that.
Yeah, because it's a minimum purchase of 10 tickets, which then brings you closer to the cost of a wristband.
Yeah.
I just think they'd make so much more money if paper ride was cheaper. Leesburg have a fairly good paper ride system where it's quite cheap. I mean, a lot of people say that Gothenburg's expensive, but I don't think it, going off the subject, I don't think it's that bad.
Expensive.
But I don't think that Leesburg's paper ride's too expensive, and you never see their rides quiet unless you're really lucky. But I think we can all agree paper ride should be cheaper.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, I know we've spoke about it a million times off camera. So that's straight away. We're interested to know what you think. Should Pleasure Beach bring back free entry? I think we were all conclusive on we don't think they should, but there is modifications to be made to the current system. So please let us know in the comments what you think, because I'm sure plenty of people who watch do go to Pleasure Beach and don't necessarily want to go on everything. And the next subject on Pleasure Beach is Seasonpass wristbands. Now this is something we touched on in the, I think it was the 2020 video or the
Yes.
Seasonpass video. Either one or the other, we spoke about our Pleasure Beach wasting money by giving us free, as an example, wristbands every time we go, because there's some days where I will go Pleasure Beach for purely to film for this channel. Now I will go in and I have to get a wristband. Now I could be going in and I won't go on a single ride, but I've still had a ride wristband printed. And as an example, back to 2016, I went to Pleasure Beach about 4 times after I'd had kidney surgery, where I literally couldn't go on anything, including Pleasure Beach Express. But each time I still had to have a wristband, even though I knew I wasn't going on anything. Are they wasting money with wristbands, do you think?
Yeah, they are. But it's not just the wristband, you get your ticket entry as well. So that's all paper that's, and they could do with saving money on it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. And to say at the times, like, I don't understand why you just can't have a barcode on your season pass and just beep every time that you want it to go on a ride. And it would just make things a little bit easier as well, because you literally just carry it around in your wallet, and then it just makes it, for me, it just makes sense. Because there are people as well that go on like every day.
Yeah.
Every single day they're on park, and they must their season pass won't even cover the cost of all the printing and everything.
No.
So,
well, how many days do you get to use your season passes? About 200 days in a year. So you think that it's 80 quid for a season pass.
Yeah.
You're never going to cover that cost with a season pass.
No.
The amount of paper that you have to use. And also, I think, like you say, if you've got a card with your season pass on where you can literally take it and just scan into the park with it and then scan in at the rides, if your picture's on that card, then that straight away covers the security aspect.
Yeah.
It's you're using it, so you don't need to sort of get anyone to verify that it's you, so that it's that simple.
Yeah.
Also, going on to the next point, it massively improves the efficiency of getting in the park, because season pass holders like us must hold up the entry to the park some amount of time, because we'll all be congregated at the info desk, which is where group bookings are processed. But also, if say we all take someone who doesn't have a season pass, but we all queue together, we're then going in the main building, so we're then 6 people in the main queue, where we could be 3 people, and the 3 of us with passes could go beep straight in the park. Which again takes us on to the next point of efficiency of getting into the park. We have spoke about this before, me and you, on PBE Monthly, so we'll get Mark's opinion. How can Pleasure Beach improve efficiency of getting in the park, in your opinion?
like I say, I mean, all they need to open one of the doors, even if it's just like a little bit of a perk, that they'll open this door to season pass holders with your card. Beep, you're in.
Yeah.
And everyone else can follow who've got like the day tickets.
Yeah.
You've got without all the season pass, because in theory they open the doors at the same time, whereas a season pass pay that day tickets are all in the same area,
Yeah.
and you just queuing, where they can start processing those that have the season pass just to come in like a little bit early, bit similar to like how Fort work theirs,
Yeah.
because they open that one side door on the right hand side, 2 season passes, and literally they've all gone in, they've gone into the dome, they've
And out of the way.
they've started spending money. They're then waiting for everyone else then to come through, and that to me would speed things up.
Yeah.
Because everyone would know that. Whereas if you've got season pass and all in the same area, it just slows everything down.
I think as well the system's so confusing to people because the amount of times we've been stood at the info desk getting season passes and people walk in and go, I've got pre-booked wristbands, but they don't know where to go, so they'll stand at the info desk and queue a good 10 minutes to be told, sorry, you've got to go outside. That just riles people up straight away from the off. I think the whole system just annoys people because when you book online you think, yeah, we're going to have some sort of priority to get in the park early, but it doesn't work like that. If you turn up half an hour after everyone who hasn't got a wristband bought, it doesn't matter whether you bought one online or not, you've still got to stand in that queue. And I think there needs to be a clear, like, defining queue for each person. So queue for Mike who's pre-booked his wristbands online, a queue for season pass holders, a queue for people who've randomly turned up on the day and gone, we're going Pleasure Beach.
Yeah.
There needs to be a clear area for each person, because then the staff are dedicated to deal with that group of people, rather than going, oh, I don't know how to put season pass through, or I don't know how to put a staff wristband through.
Yeah.
It's all mashed together, and it's been like this for 10 years now, and I don't really think there's ever really been any thought to it, but I think it is peeing people off more and more, and I'm hearing more and more people complain about it who aren't season pass holders. Quite often, when we've done the POVs for the channel, I've waited at the info desk to meet up with someone from Pleasure Beach to go and do the filming, and so many times you see people going in and going, oh, where do I pick up my tickets, or why have I got a queue outside, it's raining and stuff like that. And I think I'm going to go back to a point that I know it's a touchy subject, but I think Noah's Ark needs to go, and I think Pleasure Beach just need a big grand entrance to get people in. But on that subject as well, let's talk about hotel guests. Pleasure Beach now have 2 very nice hotels at the other end of the park where people have literally got to walk the length of the park to leave at the end of the day. So if you're staying in the Big Blue and you ride the big one, last ride of the day, you're literally within touching distance of your hotel, but you've got to walk the whole length of the park and walk it again on the seafront to get back. And I think, again, to help the congestion at the main entrance, there should be a dedicated area for hotel guests. And I think that's where season passes should go in, and I think that should be south entrance. I think if you just get everyone out of the way, season passes and hotel guests, and give them a perk, even if it's a 15 minutes extra on the big one than anyone else, or on Icon, make it Icon, it's the newest ride. Give everyone 15 minutes extra on Icon. Icon's quite often ready before park opening anyway, or close to park opening. Get everyone in that who's got some sort of perk, whether it be hotel guests, season pass holders, staff. Let them go in that way, and just let anyone that's pre-booked wristbands or buying them on the day to all go in the same way together.
I'd agree with that. Literally just make a purpose-built hotel and season pass. Put a nice new entrance in there that'll complement both Boulevard and Big Blue.
Yeah.
And have that area then that comes in. You basically, even if you didn't get in any earlier, you're still that much closer to going on Big One.
Yeah.
And that much closer to going on Icon. So you'd literally probably be at the front anyway.
Yeah.
Just for when they both opened. And then let those who bought in advance or buying on the day go in where Noah's Ark is.
Yeah.
And then you're splitting it.
Yeah.
So there's less people over there and more people coming through here.
And there's less jostling for spaces in queue lines as well, because there's just not enough space outside Noah's Ark.
We only need to look at like opening day when everyone was a bang on thingy. Literally, you couldn't move in that area.
No.
And you couldn't even get out sometimes to where all the Nick were doing all the stuff. You couldn't see it because you was all waiting anyway for that bit.
Yeah, so I think I'm just going to check to make sure we've covered that, but we've definitely covered the Pleasure Beach entry system there. So the next section of PBE Monthly is going to be Mike and Becca talking about theme park catering. Now, we filmed this a couple of weeks ago, so just so you know, for continuity purposes, they will be wearing different clothes and the lighting will be different. But we filmed it a couple of weeks ago just to get a bit of ahead of the game with PBE Monthly. But let us know in the comments what you think. Does free entry need to come back? Does pay per ride need to be cheaper at the Pleasure Beach? Does the Pleasure Beach need to change how we deal with season pass holders and hotel guests and so on. So yeah, please let us know in the comments what you think, and over to Mike and Becca. In terms of theme park catering in the UK, what could be done better and where?
I'll start this one, and that's food for kids. Especially now that we've got Charlie, and try to feed him something healthy is a nightmare at parks. He doesn't even like chips, so that's straight off. You can't hand a 1-year-old a burger or hot dogs. It's just not worth it, and he's not keen on it anyway. But just try to find something like an apple or some fruit for a kid is impossible in most parks. I mean, Towers, you can go to CBeebies Land right at the back, and you can get stuff there, but the rest of the park's really difficult. Places like Pleasure Beach, I haven't had any luck finding anything Charlie wants to eat there at all. Try to think where else we've been. Flamingo Land wasn't brilliant, try to get him something to eat, but we managed to get him some toast, so he was happy with that.
Yeah. We weren't there too long, to be fair, were we?
No.
We weren't there long enough to need a big meal.
Thorpe again, couldn't find him anything healthy to eat. Just generally, if you want to eat healthily, yeah, theme park's not your first thought, but when you're attracting kids, you have to offer a healthy option for the kids. And I think all the parks are failing at that.
In Thorpe's defence, I'll say they're not really a park for kids, but Towers
No,
and Pleasure Beach are.
Yeah.
They've got a lot for kids to do, so I think they probably should have more,
Definitely.
especially Nickelodeon Land.
Yeah.
Is picking up that on a healthy option. That's long been slated for every single park for not offering anything at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you go everywhere and it's burgers, chips, chicken, burgers, hot dogs, burgers, chicken. Everywhere, and I mean, I'm not gonna go there and have a salad, but someone else might do.
Yeah, there are a lot
Someone
of
else
people
may
that
want to, and that's been picked up for years. I can remember as far back as forums talking about this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been going on for 15 years probably.
But look at the amount of people these days that are vegetarian, vegan, this, that, or whatever name they want to put on it. You know, people do tend to want to eat healthier. There's all this arguing over what should be allowed to be advertised. There's the whole sugar tax thing, but still, when it comes to actual food, nothing's being done. You can find 3 million different chocolate bars, but try to find this single bit of healthy food is really difficult.
Oh, so how hard is it to stick a few apple bags in a shop,
Exactly.
in the fridge next to the pot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
not difficult.
Towers does well in that catering unit at the back of CBeebies because things like apples are free for the kids, which is really good, but anywhere else, or even at Towers, I'd be happy paying for that kind of thing for them. Just offer it. People will have them. There are kids that do prefer these kind of things.
Yeah. So what else do you think they can do better? In the UK, I know something we spoke about off camera was the kind of food that you can get early on in the day.
Yeah.
As an ex-shift worker, Mike,
Yeah,
you've probably
I
got
mean,
some
yeah.
examples.
How many times have we walked around parks trying to find something to eat at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Because Scott used to do shift work, I used to do nights.
Well,
We
if you've
both used to do
travelled.
nights. Oh yeah, or if you for your family coming from Scotland,
Yeah.
for example.
You might have eaten
Over 4
first
o'clock in the
thing at
morning.
about 4 or 5 o'clock. By the time the park opens, you're going to be starving again.
Yeah,
The argument there could be, yeah, but there's service stations, but they're so expensive.
yeah.
You
They
want
are, and if you don't want to stop, or, you know, if you're travelling along the M6, especially if you're coming from the south, there aren't that many.
yeah.
There are not many options to stop at.
So, let's say Pleasure Beach. They've obviously got the fountain area. What would you do differently with their catering? Because obviously we go there a lot. We always want food, so we go to Weatherspoons in the morning.
Yeah.
What would it take you to stop going Weatherspoons in the morning and go, actually, I'll get to Blackpool later and I'll eat at the Pleasure Beach because something's there? What would it take to stop you putting
first-
money in the Weatherspoons pot and putting it in Pleasure Beach's pot instead?
Well, the first thing's actually offer it.
Yeah.
There is no physical, and we've covered this many times. The availability of getting food at Pleasure Beach before 11:30, 12 o'clock is none.
It's difficult,
It's
isn't it?
almost none. You go to, we haven't got anything ready, we're not going to have it ready for an hour, we're not even ready to open. Here it, and all the catering outlets. Maybe, I think the only place that's ever open is Beach Burger,
A Burger King.
Burger King. But
Yeah.
Burger King's on the other side of the park.
Yeah.
Which is
If you're coming in at that side of the park, chances are you've had breakfast in the big Bud
Yeah.
or the boulevard.
There's something as simple as this is open the park an hour before rides, and then but have somewhere to buy bacon butties. The Fountain has been the classic example for ages. Bacon butties, sausage butties.
And something for veggies and vegans as well.
Yeah.
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 You
But
can do a toasties, that sort of thing. There's loads of
Yeah.
options you can do
Very
there.
simple, easy
Yeah.
to make things that isn't going to be a big hardship for them to do, but people want and, you know, start the day off right. But it's easy, just let people in, only to the fountain area. That show that they currently have outside of the casino should be round by the fountain area anyway, but have that, keep people entertained, have a seating area, let people buy food, let people get a drink, have the first fountain show of the day, then let everyone into the park.
And that's your secondary spend straight away.
Yeah.
Because you could rope it off by where the Wild Mouse was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to stop people going up that way, stop them going up to the Ghost Train.
Well, all you realistically do is put 2 security guards on it, couple of security guards on each ramp.
Yeah.
Just
Happy
have a
days.
captive audience in the
Yeah.
fountain area, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
And then offer breakfast for
Easy.
all types of people.
You can make hundreds.
Yeah.
You virtually make your staffing costs for the day back
Yeah.
just in food, and you could quite easily charge £2.50 for a bacon butty
Yeah.
and get away with it.
Yeah.
There's no way that everywhere else does. What's McDonald's for a bacon roll now? About £2.50.
No, £3.50
It's
now.
£3.50
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
God, shows how long it is since I bought one from there.
Yeah. That's
There
because
wasn't
they
the
changed the
staff
buns.
rate. Yeah.
Yeah. Tea, coffee, and something warm to eat, especially towards winter, start of the season, end of the season, when it's absolutely freezing in the morning, have something on offer to warm people up.
How about get Loki's open in the winter?
That'd be a nice
It's got
start
this
as well.
huge seating area upstairs that looks fantastic, but I don't think anyone ever sees it
No.
because it always seems to be roped off.
Yeah.
And that takes me to our next question for you both. What can parks do more in the winter months, well, the colder months, to provide more places to sit? Because do you think there's enough, or is there just nowhere near
No.
enough in any of the parks?
Nowhere,
No,
anywhere.
because
It's got-
parks that do have them keep these places closed, like Loki's.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's no good reason to have Loki's shut. Either just upstairs being shut or all of it being shut. Because you've got the arena, which the doors are open half the time, it's freezing in there, you've got all the skaters in there, so that should just be not counted in, you know, what's available in the park, really, because it's used by people going for hot ice, going ice skating or whatever, so there's not much space in there. So that leaves you with Loki's, if it's open, Burger King, which is rammed, and usually upstairs is closed as well, so
Yeah.
that's no good. And you kind of run out of places
That's
after
it.
that.
The only park that I can think of that's got a really good place to sit substantially is Thorpe,
Yep.
because of Finn's Bar.
Yeah.
Everywhere
Finns
should
is
have somewhere like
huge.
that.
But Towers hasn't got anywhere really. How many times do you find everyone cowering in the Starbucks or whatever coffee place
It's
it
either
is?
Starbucks or Coffee Corner at the
Yeah, the one
entrance.
next to
They're
Nemesis.
the only two places.
But it's also the same for in the summer. When it's absolutely roasting and you want to either get a kid out or
Shade.
if you're not feeling great, go and sit in the
Yeah.
cool. There's very little places to go and sit out of the sun. And this is probably why so many people get sunburn at a day at the theme park.
Yeah. Shade. Yeah, it's a fair point actually. You never think that way because I just think of being stood in Towers absolutely soaked to the skin, trying to warm up.
We
Yeah.
had this issue, try to get Charlie out the sun for a little bit, back when we did the Towers event,
In June,
just trying
yeah.
to find anywhere that one had any seats left if there was anywhere to look, and anywhere that was actually cool. It goes both ways, you got to look at summer and winter. People don't always need to be out in the sun, it's not good for you.
And finally, a question that's mainly for Mike is: we've had Finn's breakfast at Thorpe Park quite
I
a
love
lot.
that breakfast.
Oh, it is
it's
good.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's had it as well then, yeah. Is it something that all parks should do? Because obviously you've got the Big Blue, you've got the Boulevard at Blackpool. Should non-theme park, well, non-hotel guests, sorry, be allowed to use those for breakfast
Why
as well?
not?
Should we be able to turn up, say, when we've not stayed at the Big Blue and go, right, I'll give you a tenner for an all-you-can-eat buffet? Should that be something
not?
that's offered at the Pleasure Beach?
Extra money, isn't it?
Yeah, they
Extra
should.
money in the
They could easily do like, right, it's only from this time.
Yeah.
Extend the time that it's on, but only allow hotel guests to use it for the first part of time.
Priority, effectively, yeah.
And then after that, so just look at the hours that it's busy, because there's always quiet times, busy times. As soon as it starts to drop off, that's when you allow everyone else in.
Yeah, definitely, I'd go for that.
Fair enough, thanks Mike and Becca. Formerly known as the European Attraction Show, the IAAPA Expo Europe 2019 took place in Paris, and luckily enough, a couple of weeks ago, I was able to attend every day of the trade show. Now, before I talk a little bit about the trade show, I just want to say a big thanks to Marcus at Coaster Touring on Twitter. Check him out. Also check out his YouTube channel. I spent the week with him in Paris. We had some good laughs along the way, ranting about traffic, but also we had a really good time meeting lots of people from the roller coaster and theme park industry. It was a really nice experience for me, because last year I got to experience one day there. I got to do one day in Amsterdam. It was the last day of the trade show. It was a bit of a rush. I'll put a card in the top of the screen with the video from that day. But yeah, that was a bit of a rush, that one, because I was trying to do so much in such a short space of time. Whereas this time I had all 3 days of the trade show, which was a great opportunity for me to speak to people that I met last year in Amsterdam, but also to make a lot of new contacts in the theme park industry and the amusement industry as well. Now, the main purpose of the trade show at the IAAPA Expo Europe, it also takes place in Orlando and in Asia too. The main purpose is that it is a trade show. It is the premier event in Europe for the amusement industry, for everyone to get together to show what they can offer, for rides to be announced, for partnerships to be announced. As an example, Europa Park held a press conference to announce what's going on with Rulantica, their new water park that opens in November. Also, they spoke a little bit about their new ride called Snorri Touring. They told us all about that in the press conference. There was press conferences from Sally Dark Rides too, who are in partnership with Aardman for a new idea for a dark ride. Hopefully that dark ride will eventually be bought up by a couple of parks and hopefully start appearing in maybe the UK, probably in Europe, probably in America. It was a concept that a lot of people were really interested in once the announcements had been made. And yeah, it's just a great opportunity for theme park owners to go and speak to roller coaster manufacturers. Also, a good opportunity for theme park owners to speak to companies that supply things to amusement parks, whether it be wheels, maintenance services, filming, smell pods. It's just a convention trade show it's just for everything in the amusement industry basically. So whether you're looking for a new roller coaster wheels, a water slide, you can literally get anything in the amusement industry that you need from the IAAPA Expo. And that is the main purpose of it. It is a chance for companies like Intamin, companies like Vekoma, and other companies that are in the amusement industry. It's their chance to say, this is what we do, this is what we can offer, and they can showcase just about everything that they can offer to somewhere that will want their services, whether it's a theme park, an amusement park, a fairground, a water park. All these things are possible at the IAAPA Expo. Now, before I go on to the interviews that I filmed, I just want to say I did learn a couple of things. Now, I didn't learn about where any new rides are going in the UK especially, or Europe, or anything like that. I didn't find out any secret information that's going to come to light anytime soon. Anything that was said there between people was all in the public domain, or it was announced whilst at the IAAPA Expo. So there's nothing that I know that I could say, this is an exclusive. There's nothing like that. It's very much, if anything goes on like a purchase between a park and a roller coaster manufacturer, it is all very private and you're not going to find out about it whether you've got a press pass. That's not the purpose of the show. The purpose of me being there really was to do some interviews for PBE, to get to know more people in the roller coaster industry, and just to cover the event as best I could. I was going to do a video for like the expo where it's just all about the expo itself, but to be honest, I didn't film enough. I didn't film enough away from the interviews to justify making like a vlog or a music video or something like that where it's a completely separate video from anything else. So I thought, you know what, the next PBE Monthly is coming up. I'll include it as part of PBE Monthly. I think it's worthwhile adding it into PBE Monthly. It's something different for PBE Monthly, and it takes it back to the roots of PBE Monthly, where originally I was hoping to do interviews with someone from the industry in every episode of PBE Monthly. It's not always been easy to do that, but coming up now is an interview with the owner or the president of GCI. Also, I spoke to the Gravity Group, an engineer from the Gravity Group, and I also spoke to Polin WaterParks, who, if you've been to Stoke Waterworld lately, you will have been on some of their most recently constructed new rides. I just want to say the audio on these interviews is not perfect, and I do need to sort that out for future videos. We are currently looking at some new cameras and some better audio options, so if you are camera savvy and you know about good Panasonic cameras that work well with external microphones, because my Panasonic camcorder does not work perfectly with external audio microphones and stuff like that, please let me know in the comments, because I'm very much looking at new cameras at the minute, new audio and things like that, so very much open to suggestion for what will effectively be our cameras and audio and stuff like that for next season.
My name is Claire Hayne, Great Coasters International, president, owner. Started the company basically 25 years ago next month, November. This is our 25th anniversary. This is the last of this booth. We're going to have a new booth at IAAPA in America this year, and also next year Asia and also Europe. There will be also a new booth to show that we're still around. We're going to be here for a lot more years.
Great stuff.
I started out 95 with a partner, Mike Boodley. After 5 years, Mike needed to step down because of a little bit of health problems, and I bought him out then. So I'm sole owner now. We've had our ups and downs, no pun intended, but we're still here, we're still kicking, and a lot of good things coming in the future.
Great stuff, and many great coasters in recent times too.
Absolutely.
So GCI have been designing and constructing wooden roller coasters for over 20 years now. How has the planning, designing and construction evolved over that time?
Things have changed a lot. We listen to what the park attendants, the patrons, or even the maintenance, we listen to what they have to say. If they have issues, we want to figure out those problems and come up with something new and better. And we have come a long way from the very beginning of when we first started. We've taken the old generation of rides and brought them to a new generation. Yes, they're still wooden. We have some new ideas out there. We have a new type of wood that we're using now to over the longevity of the maintenance on the wooden roller coaster on the track. We also have something new that we're getting patented right now as we speak. Actually today, it's now day one of the new patent that we started. We're still in the design stages, trying to get this thing foolproofed, and then we're going to move forward. My goal is in 2 weeks to start making a prototype of this, see what it takes, what it's really going to take to put this together, manufacture it, and then we'll come out with a real price to start selling this.
Cool.
We also have our new trains that we developed last year, our Class 5 trains, so now we're looking at going corkscrews, inversions, and everything. So we're really expanding as much as we can within a small company.
Yeah, cool. So I remember seeing the concept last year of I think it was a dual wooden coaster with the loops and everything. So is that something you're looking to do in the next couple of years?
We brought the new train to IAAPA in November last year in Orlando. April, we tested it in Orlando.
Yeah.
And worked fantastic. Unbelievable. I was pleased.
Yeah.
And we just had a couple more changes we want to do to make it a little bit simpler to maintain it. It's final. So now the final drawing package is being finalized now, so I can start pricing it and getting it out in the market.
Perfect. And one last question. Is there any projects for 2020 that you're able to talk about? that have recently been announced, or is everything still under wraps?
One that just announced this past week in San Antonio, Texas.
Cool.
We just opened one just recently in Poland.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have 3 of the ones that were supposed to be open this year, but they're still unknown when it's going to be. The one in China, Vietnam, and Dubai. Unknown. Because we just don't know what's going on.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
There we go. Can you... and that is you going back to America in a GTI car.
My name's Jonathan Wooker. I've been with the Gravity Group for almost 10 years right now. I'm a mechanical engineer who primarily works on the trains and various other research and development side projects related to the track and the mechanical components.
Cool. The trains are of a particular interest. How has sort of design of those evolved over time, especially with the funky designs that you guys design on the trains?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's been something that, I came in about the time the Gravity Group was doing their very first Timberliners, and so I was able to help them take that from more of a prototype concept into a fully developed production product. And so it's something that we've always had in mind, that we wanted to do things like go upside down. We wanted to make it easier on the parks to maintain the trains. We wanted to make it more comfortable for the riders, for a larger variety of riders to ride our trains comfortably. And so right from the get-go, we said this is not going to be your grandfather's, your father's wooden roller coaster car. We want this to be the Ferrari of wooden roller coaster cars. It's a modern product, it's a modern design, and I think that some of the styles that we've chosen reflect that going forward. That we're escaping the box of just a mine car or your typical wooden coaster themes to include some more dramatic things. Like we're showcasing a dragon at the show this year, but in the past you can see our wall is covered in different train designs. We're going boats, planes, all sorts of different themes.
Cool. So how much input does the theme park or amusement park have into the design, or is it mostly Gravity Group pushed?
Oh, it's, I would say the majority of the design concepts are from the park. We certainly are able to give inspiration. This dragon was something that we've used to inspire the parks about the different possibilities that you have with our trains. But in general, the park has an idea of what they want their theme to be, and it varies from park to park whether or not how involved they are, how hands-on they are in the process. Some parks have their own team of designers and they come up with some really awesome, very detailed plans. And other parks are maybe a little more hands-off. They have some ideas about the general theme of the ride, but they want to see what we can come up with, what our train can do. I know, at least one of the parks we've worked with in the past has had a competition to name the ride with from their various guests, and that guided the theme of the ride. So it's all over the board, but it's definitely an interactive process between the park and us. There's a little bit of back and forth, and we're able to both work together to come up with a theme that suits the park.
Cool. And one last question.
Absolutely.
What is the biggest challenge you face when going through all the planning stages of a new roller coaster?
Oh my gosh. It's different for every ride. That's the beauty of it, is that we never pick the easy project. We're building our rides on top of other buildings, inside and out of other rides. We always want to give every park something unique that sets them apart from everyone else, and whether that's something like a shuttle coaster that can accommodate 2 different trains, or something that is, seems barely possible. We're always picking a project that has a unique challenge to it, and just doing something new every single time we do a new ride. That's what provides the challenge. That's what we love, is doing those types of projects that maybe other teams might shy away from.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Cool.
I'm the director of marketing and communications. I'm with Polin for the last 15 years. For the first years I did sales and marketing, and currently I'm doing marketing and communications.
Cool. Would you be able to tell me a little bit about Polin WaterParks as a company?
Sure. Polin was established in 1976, so it's a 43-year-old water park company. And we are doing design, manufacturing, engineering, installation of water parks and water play attractions all around the world. So far we have completed more than 3,000 water park projects in 105 countries around the globe. So I can say that we're the global market leader in water park attractions.
Perfect. How much planning goes into the design and construction of new slides, and how much input into the layout of each slide does the company and the client have?
We have a very important design and engineering function. For the last 3 years, we've been an official R&D center. So 54 of our team only working on design and engineering of water slides. So I can say that that's one of the main functions. We're always working on new designs. Innovation is always very important in our industry, but especially for the new rides, it's much more important. So we're constantly investing in R&D and new product design, composites R&D, and so that's why most of our slides, especially for the last 10 years, they are choosing to be the best attraction of the year, best European water slide, so we're so proud of them.
Cool, thank you. And one last question.
Sure.
How has the design of water rides evolved over time?
So when it first started, it was very simple. We used to have just one ride path, so people were just climbing the tower, and they were just sliding through the slide and into the splash pool. But now it's evolved a lot. We are doing constant market research to see what our clients want, but it's important to understand that our clients and our clients' clients, who are the people going to the parks, are different. So we're asking them both. So what the operators want, what do the people who go to the parks want. So I can say that the clients' needs shape our design. So how it did it evolve? First of all, storytelling is still very important. So we are designing water slides that are really like a character of that story. So just like our King Cobra. And secondly, capacity is still very important. So we're designing rides with high capacity ones. 4 to 6 persons at a time ride our slides. And of course, different ride routes. Surprising paths. So huge drops. So always on the right path, we try to design something that is unexpected.
Yeah.
So because we've been asking the same question for long years, for a lot of people from different cultures, different religions, different languages, different age groups. What do you want?
Yeah.
And the number one item has never changed. They're just saying that we want excitement.
Yeah.
So we're really designing thrilling rides.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Once again, I would like to apologise for the audio and the interviews. I do hope that you found them interesting though. Hope you enjoyed watching them. And I really appreciate the time that I was given by GCI, the Gravity Group, and Polin WaterParks to be able to film those interviews. it is quite difficult when you're planning an interview what you can ask exactly. So I'd just like to say a big thanks to everyone as well who helped me put the questions together. I did ask for suggestions in PBE chat, and those suggestions for all of the interviews that I did film was very helpful. Now, before I move away from the subject of interviews, I did speak to Intamin quite a lot over the trade show, and I did film an interview with Intamin. Unfortunately, back to the subject of audio, the audio didn't transmit very well onto my camcorder, so unfortunately I'm not able to use the footage from the interview with Intamin, but a big thanks to Intamin as well for their time allowing me to interview them. So yeah, moving on from the interviews, it was a really good trade show, and I did learn quite a lot. I learned about the different kind of companies that the amusement park industry has. As an example, there's like smell pod companies, there's companies that specialise in purely roller coaster wheels, there's companies that are external companies that go and investigate rides, go and investigate all sorts of things in theme parks. So a lot of the time when parks close over the winter, you don't quite realise how many different companies are going in and out of those parks doing different inspections, whether it's track inspections, whether it's safety inspections on walkways, catering inspections. There's so many different companies that work with the parks to do all sorts of, whether it's maintenance, inspections, little bits of work. It's a real eye-opener when you go to the trade show. You just see how much effort goes into so many different areas of the amusement industry. There's even a big section for just bouncy castles, which it's great if you take your kids along to the trade show because they'd love it. They'd love to see all of those bouncy castles. One of the things that I found really interesting while I was at the trade show is when a theme park buys a roller coaster, as an example, they don't just say walk up to a manufacturer and go, we want this ride, we want it to open on this date, we want it to be this tall, this fast, and so on. They book a slot. So a theme park will book a slot with a manufacturer, which is something that a lot of people may have already know, but I honestly didn't know this. So as an example, when the Pleasure Beach bought Icon, they didn't walk up to Mac and say, we want Icon. They didn't say this is exactly how Icon is now is not how Pleasure Beach would have gone to Mac and approached them for a multi-launch roller coaster. They will have booked a slot with Mac, which obviously they have to pay for, and then in the time of booking the slot and between booking the slot and the ride opening, that's where all the planning starts. So you go through the design, the layout, where it's going to go, what it's going to look like, what the theme's going to be. They go through all of that after they've booked a slot with a manufacturer. Now that is something that I didn't realise. I mean, I know a lot of people who are watching may be going, Scott, how did you not know that? We already knew that. But I genuinely didn't know that. So as an example, you've got Storm Chaser opening at Polton's Park next year. So again, Polton's Park wouldn't have gone straight to Mac and gone, we want exactly this ride. They'll have booked a slot, and that's when the planning starts, from picking the manufacturer and booking the slot with the manufacturer. That's where all the planning starts from there. That's where they decide what ride type, what it's going to be like, the layout, everything that follows. There's so much planning that goes into it, and that's why when we talk about rumours of new rides, where things are going to be built, when we're talking about these rumours of, oh, what's Thorpe Park going to do next, what's Alton Towers going to do next, what's Pleasure Beach going to do next, which we always talk about on this channel, chances are whatever's coming next has been planned 3, 4, 5 years in advance. And it's possible that sometimes a theme park or an amusement park will book a slot with a roller coaster manufacturer for, say, 5 years' time. Gives them the chance to get the money, gives them the chance to design the ride, gives them the chance to work on everything that needs to be worked on. There's so much of it that goes into the planning of building a roller coaster, and it really was an eye-opener for me. And like I say, a lot of people may have already known about the booking a slot thing with a manufacturer, but I genuinely didn't know that. So it was interesting to find out. One thing I will say is I didn't find out about any new rides in particular that are going to be happening at, say, UK parks. It's all something that does not get discussed with the press, of course. It's something that's very private. And like I say, the main reason for the trade show is so that the amusement industry can get together, they can look at what can be provided by which company, who wants what, and it's just a great chance for everyone to just mingle and figure out what they want, what they can offer, who can do what. And I just think it's excellent that a trade show like that exists, and it's an absolute pleasure for me to have been able to attend. Now with that, that is the end of Pleasure Beach Experience Monthly, and I just want to say that at the start of this episode I said it would be September's episode. Of course it isn't September's episode, it's October's episode. I have no idea why I said that at the start, but yeah. So if anyone spotted that little mistake in the opening, I do apologise for that. And I hope you've enjoyed October's PBE Monthly. We're already planning the next PBE Monthly, which will be hopefully uploaded on the final weekend of the Blackpool Pleasure Beach season, more than likely be on the Sunday, which seems to be the best day for uploading PBE Monthly. We've not fully planned it out though, so if there's anything you would like us to discuss, please let us know in the comments. Also, everything that we've discussed in this PBE Monthly, please let us know in the comments your thoughts on it all. Always interesting to see what everyone thinks about what we've discussed. And since we discussed the Pleasure Beach's entry policy, there has been some rumours that Pleasure Beach may be going to pay one price, which is completely different to the current setup. But that is a watch this space kind of situation. So yeah, that's all from me. Thanks to Becca, Mike and Mark for also contributing to this episode of PBE Monthly. And a big thanks to everyone for watching. And we'll see you in the next Pleasure Beach Experience video.